What's going on, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Play Callers. This is interactive sports talk, and we are coming to you very interactive this week because we're coming to you live 4 places at once. That's how we do it big around here.
One, baby.
So ideally, what's going to happen is as you guys comment from wherever you're watching, we should see those pop up. But for some reason, if your comments aren't popping up or we're not seeing them, head on over to playcallersportstalk.com and join us on YouTube. And you'll definitely be able to comment there. So got you.
Absolutely.
So cool, man. NFL finished up. Got NBA starting to get in full swing. All-Star breaks coming up here pretty soon. A lot going on.
Always. The wonderful world of sports. It's always giving.
Always, man. Always. Except for, those 4 months that we didn't have any sports, outside of that.
Well, we still have some sports-related content. That's all we can ask for.
That's true. And we, me and you, definitely maximize those 4 months to the best of our abilities. So,
not to toot my own horn, but definitely I feel like that was something that was done.
Yeah. I mean, I'm okay with just tooting our own horn, man. I'm not opposed to that whatsoever. So,
I know, man.
So, you guys are tuning in and joining us either on Facebook or on YouTube. Pop in the comments, let us know. Oh, Easy E here.
Big E.
So we got a new feature. Go ahead and bring you up. There you go, Easy. You on the screen, man. You on the screen. We're bringing you in. So new little feature that we got here on the show. So we'll be bringing you y'all's comments up to talk about them instead of just putting them out there. So we're making this truly interactive sports talk. So cool, man. Look, I know we got a lot to talk about tonight. I know there's all kind of topics, all kind of things you want to talk about. But you're an Eagles fan, so I've got to ask you to start the show, man, about this Carson Wentz trade.
Well, man, couple of things. High time the trade happened. Thank you, Philadelphia, for getting the malcontent out of the locker room and out of the city. There's been a lot of people that are whining and crying on social media that he's gone and wanting his number, all kinds of ridiculousness. There's a lot of people that are saying, oh, we couldn't win the Super Bowl without Carson Wentz. He won us the Super Bowl. You need to all pump your brakes. Carson Wentz did not play a playoff game. Carson Wentz did not play but 13 and a half games that year. While we were 12-2 in those 14 games that he appeared in, 12-2 in the regular season does not win you a Super Bowl. Here's what you need to all understand about football, regardless of the Eagles fan, whoever you are. Number one, you have to win playoff games. He was not there for the playoffs. So while we can say, and I have openly stated, he is a reason that we got that Super Bowl because of what he was able to bring. He did not win us the Super Bowl. Period. Point blank. He put us in a position to have a number one seed. Nick Foles did his job from game 15 through the playoffs and won us the Super Bowl. So the narrative needs to be real. And what I'm finding is it's the same narrative that we're having with other people. I'm not going to call names, but other people are able to say, well, people are able to say about him, oh, he's great. He did this. He did that. He did this. Understand that this was a unique situation. Your starting quarterback got hurt. He'd never won a playoff game. He'd never, anything. Your backup comes in, wins you the games, wins you the Super Bowl. There's a statue outside of the arena in Philadelphia, the football field, Lincoln Financial. Does that statue have Carson Wentz? Does not, because he wasn't playing the Super Bowl. It has the coach, and the Super Bowl winning quarterback, Nick Foles. So while not a Foles fan myself, I have to acknowledge, because I am a reasonable individual, that him winning the playoff games in the Super Bowl matters as much, if not more, than the 12-2 start. So you need to pump your brakes when you're saying that Wentz won a Super Bowl. He helped, he didn't win. Number two, he's been to the playoffs since then, wasn't able to do much, but get knocked out. So another interesting point, injuries. The best ability that you can have as an athlete is availability. Not making it but one full season as a starter definitely hurt your luster for all those who want to argue for Carson Wentz is so great. Will he go on to Indianapolis and have a great career? He probably will. Will he win a Super Bowl? The way he's playing now, he definitely won't. But maybe with old Frankie boy, he'll get him together. He'll turn him back around. That was his offensive coordinator for us the year that we did win the Super Bowl. And, I said at the time that losing him was going to really hurt us. And we lost him. Why? Because Josh McDaniels, who we had the audacity to interview for a head coaching job, flaked out on the job. But that's cool. Here's what everyone needs to realize. Carson Wentz did not want to be in Philadelphia. Jalen Hurts got a better response from the team. Our playoff year, Josh McCown had guys playing harder for him than they did for Wentz. In the Super Bowl year, the guys played harder for Nick Foles than they did Wentz. This is not a one-time occurrence. Habitually, any other quarterback but Wentz got better play out of the same players when everyone complained that our line sucks and our defense sucks and our wide receivers suck and we don't run the ball, but everybody played better with anybody but Wentz. So getting rid of him was clearly the way to go. And if you can't see that, I'm sorry. If you want to say that, Jalen Hurts is not the guy, maybe he's not. But guess who else wasn't the guy? Carson Wentz. Guess who were the only two quarterbacks that we had on our team? Jalen Hurts and Carson Wentz. So guess which one is gone and which one is still there? If he doesn't perform, he'll be gone. Emotions about these guys that don't care about you as a fan is a joke. Point to me anywhere in over 24 hours where our ex-quarterback has got on and thanked the fans of Philadelphia. You know what he did? He started calling his players on the Colts team. He didn't care about us. But y'all up here whining and crying about him. He doesn't care about the city, the organization, or the fans. But you're sitting up here whining and crying because he's gone, thanking him, posting all these memes about him. What has he done for the city? What has he done to thank the city? Nothing. A team that traded up, believed in him, gave him a shot in the NFL. Without him being in Philadelphia, he may not even be in the position he's in. Did he thank the city? Did he thank the team? Did he thank the fans? Not at all. So all y'all that want to go ahead and praise him and cry and whine because it's gone and have this uproar that I've been hearing about, all these people complaining to the Eagles organization for making this trade, have at it. One of these days, you may come back to your realistic senses and realize this wasn't the move. And what we did was what was best for the team. Your feelings can be hurt. You can be emotional. I don't care. The team doesn't care. And your boy Carson Wentz doesn't care. He's gone. Let it go. We got to move forward. We got a draft coming up. And we got a season to play. And it's not going to be with our former quarterback. Deal with it. I'm happy he's gone.
I got to just point out, man, you brought up a point pretty early in there about how he did help you get that number one seed, right? But that's not the same as winning the championship. There have been a lot of teams who won 13, 14, 15 games in a season and then not won a Super Bowl. So just because you get a number one seed does not mean that you're going to win a Super Bowl. The other thing is that people want to go back and say, oh, Carson Wentz won the Super Bowl because he helped get a number one seed. I've heard a lot about Tom Brady the last few weeks and all the Super Bowls that he's won and all the Super Bowls he's gone to and all this other stuff. You know what I've never heard anybody say in all that time was about how Drew Bledsoe got the Patriots to the playoffs the first year that Tom Brady won a Super Bowl because Drew Bledsoe got hurt. No one goes back and gives Drew Bledsoe credit for one of Tom Brady's rings. Yet, here we are with people trying to give Carson Wentz credit for something that he didn't actually earn.
They love old boy Carson, man. I'm just going to say this. There's been a few people who have been given, the starting quarterback position. Wentz being one, Kevin Cobb being one. Doug Peterson himself was given the starting job, didn't have to compete for it. Then there are certain quarterbacks who have had to compete for the job. We're going to look at Donovan McNabb. Randall Cunningham, he didn't just get the job outright. He had to compete for it. Michael Vick. And then we've been told Jalen Hurts is going to have to compete for the starting job. I'm just going to respond to my own observation by saying, what is so great about the guys that I named? And there's been other guys, that's just a portion of them, where certain people are just handed a job and certain people have to compete. Shouldn't the logic be everybody needs to compete? Because if you're not competing, then you're not guaranteeing the best person wins. And as we saw with the artist formerly known as our quarterback, he can't handle competition. So I can't speak for other Eagles fans, but I can speak for this Eagles fan and say, if a guy's that soft mentally, I don't want him on the team anyway, because we're rude, we're disrespectful, and we're mean. If you can't handle it, you shouldn't be a quarterback in Philadelphia. Yeah. So guess what? Bye-bye.
So just a heads up for you here. So we've got some people chatting in our Play Call Sports Talk group on Facebook. If you're not a member, you should definitely come join. And those are coming through as just Facebook users on the chat here. So I went ahead and pulled it up. So okay. First of all, we got Austin Jefferson. So I want to say what's up to him for joining us. And then Sierra Cobb also joining us. And she said that he did say goodbye about an hour ago. So I'm guessing sometime in the last hour that Carson Wentz actually did finally post something. So
a whole day later.
So you can go look it up and be wowed at his words of kindness for the city of Philadelphia, I'm sure. It is, after all, the city of brotherly love.
Oh, it took him a whole day and a half. Thank you for finally deciding to thank the city.
Well, man, it takes time to, come down off your celebration and, getting what you want. That takes time, man. So, and let's be honest, man. There's a very, very good chance that Carson Wentz actually posted something yesterday for all the Eagles fans and it got intercepted.
That is a fair assumption.
Yeah. Just throwing that out there for you.
Still stands over 24 hours. It takes you to say thank you. Here's the thing. When players leave, I get you draft your statement and things, but if you go to like their Instagram, their Facebooks things, they'll say something like, thanks to the city of wherever they were playing at, gonna miss you guys, whatever. Then they come out later with their full statement, right? Because you're acknowledging that I appreciate the love I get from you guys. So again, entitled, pampered, spoiled brat, didn't do that. Waited for his little statement, which is cool. Another reason why I'm glad that he's gone. Bye-bye. Now, I think we spent enough time talking about the guy that's gone. Let's talk about the ramifications on the league for this. Wentz was a guy that was going to get traded. It's clear from everything I've read that nobody else wanted him. The Bears thought about it, but then they were like, nah, we good. So now he's off the table. He's out of play. So we've got Hurts. It's been reported by multiple credible sources, guys that cover the team, that the team's thinking is they want to bring someone else in. So that means we're going to take, and you are right, Eric. He didn't speak to Peterson for weeks. He got Peterson fired and then got himself traded. So, kudos to him. I guess that was his plan all along. Not the dumbest plan I've ever heard, but hey, This is a guy that can't read defenses, so not surprised. Now, what I'm thinking here, obviously, this is my thoughts. I have no way to verify this. I'm not an insider. I don't have the Eagles insider I can call and get any information. This is just my thoughts. We're probably going to bring in a veteran, like Tyrod Taylor, Ryan Fitzpatrick. Not saying those guys particularly, but some, guys like that. Guys that would be definitely fire Howie, hashtag fire Howie Roseman. Talking about it all the time. But we're probably going to bring in one of those guys because we want someone to compete with him because he has to earn the job. He didn't get the opportunity that his predecessor got. Not going to talk about why, but he did. So he's got to do that. So we got to bring in a guy to push him. I think he gets the job. I love the fact, and I respect the fact that he's already was planning before the trade to get together with the receivers that are going to be there next year and try to work on, getting rhythms and cadences and where he likes the ball, how he likes to throw it, all those things. Those are the things a leader does. So we're going to see one of these middling quarterbacks sometime between now and the draft, or maybe even after, and sometime in free agency. We're going to see one of them come to Philadelphia. There's been some reports about drafting a quarterback. I wouldn't put it past the idiot that runs the organization. Hashtag fire Howie Roseman again. But hopefully we'll be logical and we'll get a offensive weapon or another shutdown corner or a linebacker with this first pick. Then after we've done that, we come back, cornerback or linebacker or defensive end. So not to deviate too much because we do have other things to talk about. But this is going to affect the market because one of those mid-level guys, I'm pretty sure though they're going to be coming to Philadelphia. And when they come to Philadelphia, that's going to take them out of play for some other teams that may be looking for a veteran guy. Even like a Josh McCown could end up coming back. Who knows?
Yeah. So Austin was saying, it sounds like he's an Alabama fan because he said Roll Tide. But he said, you got to love the leadership and the poise of Hurts. I don't know what Hurts' NFL career is going to look like, but I do know, and we talked about it on the show before, the way that he handled everything that happened in Alabama, the way that he, went to the bench, came in when he was needed, transferred only after, he came in and did his job. I have a lot of respect for him. I want to see him be successful. Unless, his success, comes at the expense of the 49ers, in which case, I have no.
Of course.
Yeah. Then he's just, he's on his own at that point. Also, shout out to Will Hood who joined us and said, "What's up?"
Big Willie.
Yeah, the thing I'm going to be interested in, man, is we talked a little bit about this last week, and you kind of brought it up. Is that not only are there a number of quarterbacks who might be going somewhere to take over as a starter? I mean, we literally listed out like half of the league might be looking for a new quarterback. Yep. Not only do we have 5 or 6 quarterbacks that might get drafted, according to some of these draft experts, possibly even all in the first round.
The top 15 picks.
Right. But on top of that, we have to also look at the fact there are a number of teams who are going to need a backup. Okay. Indianapolis just traded for Carson Wentz. Well, it might be who they plan to be their starter, but you really think they're going to just not have a backup? No, they're going to need a backup. And with his injury history, they'd be wise to get a good one.
No, you got to tread lightly. You can't get a good one. That's not going to work. You can't handle a good backup. It's going to have to be somebody that can play if they get in, but that he's significantly better than, because that's the only way he can perform. Just giving you an honest analysis of his personality.
Yeah, you got the 49ers. I said a couple weeks ago, there's no way that they're going to look at their roster and say we're comfortable rolling with Nick Mullins and CJ Beathard as our backup quarterbacks next year. They're going to be looking for a better quality backup, even if they keep Jimmy Garoppolo as a starter. They might even bring somebody in who can push Jimmy. So you're going to have another quarterback go out there, and some of these quarterbacks is a numbers game. At some point, some of these guys are going to have to accept jobs, or they're going to have to accept situations where they can go in and maybe try to win a starting job for at least a few weeks, a la Fitzpatrick last year in Miami.
Right.
That's just what's going to happen this year. So it's the quarterback market this year is going to be insane. I really think we're going to see something, especially with the salary cap going down. We're going to see something that we haven't seen in a very long time when it comes to quarterbacks activity.
Yeah, I think we're going to see, like you said, a lot of moves. Jacoby Brissett is another guy that may be on that tier that we're talking about as far as bringing into Philly or even to San Francisco. I feel like every week we're going to be on here talking about some quarterback rumors or a quarterback trade or a quarterback signing. So if you love football, this is probably a place you're going to want to come to, because I feel like these things are going to continue to trickle out. And there's a lot of, and then, of course, draft, we're closer to that. Once that gets a little bit closer and some things clear up as far as, who's going where, we'll definitely be talking about that as well. So it'll be a lot of things going on as far as that goes. I did see the comment about Deshaun Watson in Philly. Assets are not there. They want a dynamic young player and multiple draft picks. The assets aren't there. So I don't think they would trade it to us. The assets aren't there.
Yeah. I think that their best hope of maybe that happening would have been if Houston had been enamored with Carson Wentz and including him as part of a trade.
And if the old BLB was there, it may have been the case.
I know, right? I mean, that's what I'm probably most upset with Deshaun about. Is like, why you couldn't do this last year? You know what I'm saying? Why you couldn't do this when Bob was still there? The 49ers could have gave them like Jerry McCain and like 2 third-round picks.
And a box of Cheez-Its.
Which speaking of, I know we want to cover some basketball stuff tonight too, man, but you told me something earlier that I almost couldn't even believe it. And I'm sure that people outside of Charlotte don't know this. Panthers fans have heard a rumor that there is a potential trade that they could offer that would include Christian McCaffrey for Deshaun Watson. And while I understand it, yes, you want to get a franchise quarterback. The Panthers fans have already gone to Christian McCaffrey's house, basically, put some gift wrap on him, and like put little Houston Texans stickers all over him and like stuck them in the mailbox to send him out. I mean, they're like already done with this dude.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. And what's funny to me about the whole thing is straight up, I mean, why would Deshaun Watson come without Christian McCaffrey? Like, not even trying to be funny, but if you're going to come to a team bereft of talent at wide receiver, tight end, and running back, you might as well stay where you're at.
Yep.
So, I mean, I think they'd have to find a way to figure out a package that does not include McCaffrey. Unless you're going to re-sign Curtis Samuel and have him play running back, which actually could possibly work, as he was a running back at Ohio State. But I think, that would be a hard sell, because you got to remember. And one other point, it's gotten so bad that now national TV is talking about the Charlotte, the Panthers, as a actual possible destination. That's how bad this rumor's got. But I think you have to find a package that doesn't include him, because Deshaun Watson has the ability to do what? To veto, to say, no, I'm not going there. I'm not going to waive my no trade clause to go there. Right. So you got to think about teams that can give them what they want and still keep the talent to entice him to want to come. Because remember, he's got the final say-so on if he's ever traded or not.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, what I think people are overlooking with all these different rumors is it really comes down to a team needs to have 2 things. Number one, they need to have the assets to trade. But don't assume that the team with the best assets has the best chance. Because just because you're giving up a lot of assets, that doesn't mean those are the assets Houston wants. And when I say that, I mean, just because you're throwing multiple draft picks at them doesn't mean they actually want draft picks. They might want players who have already been in the league at least a couple of years, who have actually shown they can play in the NFL. So we don't know how that looks right now. We do know that their new general manager came from New England, who I think has had like one first round draft pick in the last 20 years. So they're probably not necessarily going to be all in on this idea that they have to have multiple first round draft picks. Although I'm sure just because of the position, they're going to expect those. But we can't just assume that because somebody has 3 first round draft picks, that automatically means that they're in the driver's seat. The other thing is, like you already pointed out, he has a no trade clause. He's not going to agree to go anywhere that he doesn't feel like he can win. If he's going to go somewhere where he's not guaranteed to win, he might as well just stay in Houston.
Gotta understand, man. You can come up with 50 rumors, but you gotta be realistic. It's gonna take something very enticing for them to be like, all right, we're gonna come up off of this dude. And on top of that, it's gonna take something that's still gonna be enticing after that for him to say, I'll come up off my no trade to go there. So, you hear teams like the Jets, Miami, because of the assets they have. Miami has Tua, who's a guy you can bring in place of him, But again, it all depends on Deshaun Watson and the Texans agreeing on a team. Mm-hmm. And that could be as interesting as them swearing up and down they're not going to trade this dude that they're going to have to trade.
Yep. And I will just go ahead and put it out there. My thoughts are, I don't actually think we're going to see a trade until, if not the week of the draft, possibly even up to draft night.
And see, the other thing that Houston could be doing, I just thought about this earlier. So the longer that you procrastinate, the longer that you put it out there that you're not going to do it, what happens? People start saying, you know what, man, I'm going to back out of this and I'm going to go after this dude. I'm going to go after this dude. So there's other guys out there. We talked about it last week, so I'm not going to keep going back on what we've already talked about. If you watched the show last week, you saw it. If not, check out the show last week. We went in depth. But for real. So
on YouTube.
So basically, you're hurting the market for him the longer you wait, right? So they could intentionally be waiting to say, oh, well, Deshaun, we didn't get what we wanted in order for us to feel like we're going to trade you. So then it's up to him what he wants to do. That could be a possibility. It could also be that they're waiting for that offer that just makes them just stagger at the mouth and be like, I got to have it. So we don't know if that's happened yet or not either. So it's a lot of different things that are going to go into it, and it's going to be a while, I believe, for that. That's the big domino to fall, but depending on time, other small ones could happen and, centralize the options for him by the time, the trade actually comes about or the possibility of a real trade happening. So that's something to keep an eye on. And shoot, we might end up talking about that every week.
Well, I mean, perfect example of this. I mean, I know it's a little bit different because we're talking about a free agent versus a trade offer. But think back to when Kawhi became a free agent. At the beginning, every team in the NBA was interested in Kawhi. Everybody's trying to get a meeting with him. Everybody's trying to see if they can convince him to come there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But after a couple of days of, him not really making any decisions, like putting off, not really like meeting with people, what started happening? People just started signing people.
Yep.
Especially the teams that didn't feel like they maybe had a strong chance. And so then you come down to the fact that there's really only like 3 teams competing for services. And I think we could see something similar to that happen with Deshaun Watson, where, like you said, guys are going to start backing out. Plus, you got to think like a team like Miami. The question they have to ask themselves is where they're picking. Okay, do we want to keep Tua? Or do we want to give up all these picks and get Deshaun? What if they say, we're going to wait till draft night, and they're saying that because they're picking what, like 3rd or 4th?
Yeah.
What if Justin Fields is still there? And they say, you know what? We think Justin Fields could be the guy, and we only have to give up 1 first-round draft pick to get Justin Fields. And then we can use our other draft picks to go put more talent on the team, especially on the offense, because the defense was already sick last year. The defense was an elite level defense last year. You put some weapons on that offense, they could be a really dangerous football team. So who's to say that they're sold on Tua? But that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to just trade for Deshaun Watson. They might decide they're going to wait for the draft and see what's available. The
Yeah,
Jets are in the same boat.
those valid points, definitely. I mean, those valid points. Like that's exactly what could happen. And then you think about too, you got free agency as options as well. So you could already have grabbed you a QB that you think could be your guy. I keep going back to this. Dak Prescott is a free agent. Jameis Winston is a free agent. Cam Newton is a free agent. You don't have to give up anything to get these guys.
Right.
Most people would say Dak is probably better than the other two guys based on how they've done for their teams. But at the end of the day, these are three guys who have starting experience that you could bring in to either be your starter or compete with someone else in certain cases for the starting role. Maybe you draft a guy, maybe bring in a guy like Cam or a guy like Jameis and see what they got. If they've got a couple of years left that you may be able to get out of them, or if they end up being the guy, then you've got this other guy that you can mentor a few years, kind of a la what happened with Aaron Rodgers, or, if they're good enough, they'll take over at some point. So there's a lot of different, scenarios. There's a lot of guys that are free agents. Again, we talked about it last week, but there's a lot of ways that teams can go, and it may not all be Deshaun Watson. It may not be all Deshaun Watson centric. He would be the prize, but you're going to have to give up a pretty penny in order to get him, and everyone may not want to do that.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, man, it comes down to some of these guys are going to be willing to take lesser deals for a year. Something we haven't really discussed too much, but the salary cap is going down. I mean, it did go up a little bit more than what they anticipated. It may still jump more if these TV deals get done in time. But as of right now, you're still looking at a cap that's about 15 million less than last year. And you can't even really say that 15 is the entire story because most NFL teams assume that the cap is going to grow every year. So not only are you 15 less than you were last year, but you don't even get the bump up that you would normally expect to have when you sign some of these guys to contracts. So a lot of these middle range guys aren't going to be able to get paid like they would normally for agency. Your top tier guys are going to still get paid. Like Lamar Jackson, when he signs his extension, he's going to get paid. Like they're not going to shortchange Lamar Jackson. But if you're a middle of the road guy, if you're a Matt Ryan and you have to go out there and sign, you're not going to get the kind of deal you want to get. Even a guy like Jameis or Cam, who really didn't, neither one got to play much last year. Well, Cam played, but he was injured and then had COVID and all kind of stuff. So neither one really got to showcase their abilities last year. And they may have to take lesser deals this year, but they're probably going to sound like 1-year deals. So some of these teams, would you rather take a 1-year flyer on a Jameis or a Cam, or would you rather give up your entire draft future for the next 5 years for Deshaun Watson?
Yeah, that's like I said. That's a decision that each team has to make, because we have seen teams win quarterback Super Bowls with quarterbacks that are, okay,
Yeah, Trent Dilfer's got a ring.
Nick Foles has a ring.
Yeah.
Eli Manning has 2 rings.
This is all true.
So I mean, there's others, but you get what I'm saying. Guys that not are like that most people wouldn't consider great. But you can still win a ring that way if you've got all the weapons around you and a good defense. And it's hard to have those things and play the quarterback top money. So, consider that as well. Yeah, a lot going on in football, man. We could spend 2-3 hours talking football. We got to get to the NBA. Right? We got to get to the NBA. It's basketball now. We got to get to some NBA. So, I'm going to set it off just like this. Best team in the NBA, the Utah Jazz. If you do not live in Utah or not a Jazz fan, and you tell me that you saw at this point in the season, we're almost halfway. So I'm not saying the season's over. I'm not saying things can't change. But if you sit here and tell me that you thought Utah would be the top team in the NBA right now, the best team, period. Not even just number one in the West, but the best team, period. You lie.
I'm going to tell you that if you live in Utah, you tell me that you're lying. I'm going to tell me if you play for the Jazz and you told me that, you're lying.
Come on, man. Not if you play for him.
I mean, they might have thought they was competitive, man, but even the Jazz players wouldn't have said they was going to be the number 1 seed. Now, come on.
This is a good point. But there's another part of that we have to talk about while we're talking about the Utah Jazz. So, the Utah Jazz are the best team in the NBA. So, I would like someone to explain to me how the best player on the surprisingly best team in the NBA is not a starter on the All-Star team.
It's the NBA is a popularity contest, man. That's that when it comes to the All-Star, that's what it is. It's a popularity contest. It's not. There's no real criteria for it, and that's the bottom line, because we've seen the guys who get attention that they and see Austin agrees, it's popularity. So, we've seen guys who really don't deserve it in certain years that still are starters. We've seen guys who deserve not just to be I'll put it this way: we've seen guys who probably could be starters on the All-Star team not even make the All-Star team.
I've got another question. First, let me just give you all the stars for those of you who may be living under a rock or may not have had an opportunity to see the stars. So the Western Conference. Of course, the team captain is, King James, LeBron himself. You also have on the team Luka Doncic and Stephen Curry as the guards. You also have Nikola Jokic and Kawhi Leonard as the other forward/center, or whatever they're doing with that thing. All right. Eastern Conference, the Slim Reaper himself, KD, is the captain. On the guards, you have Kyrie and Bradley Beal. The other forward/center joints they be doing, you have Giannis and you have Joel Embiid. So go back to the West. You mean to tell me not only did Donovan Mitchell not make the team, but Damian Lillard's not starting? I can't say anything about Steph because Steph is balling. Steph alone is carrying the Warriors. And I said before the season started, watch out for Steph. He can get that team to the playoffs by himself. Can he win a championship? No, he can't win a championship. But he can get that team to the playoffs and maybe win a series by himself. He's that prolific of a scorer. Yep. And he's actually a real point guard, too. So he will feed people and give you looks. But Luka has not played to the level where he should be starting. And he's starting over, I believe it was Lillard, due to them having the same number of votes, but him being ranked higher by the fans. First of all, it shouldn't even been a tie. Luka is a good player. He could one day be a great player. He's had some great moments. He is no Damian Lillard or Donovan Mitchell.
Right.
And he's starting over those guys.
Yep. Yeah.
Now, the other one that a lot of people are upset about is your boy, AD, not starting. And basically Kawhi or Nikola Jokic getting to start over him. I think it's more focused at Kawhi because Jokic is an MVP candidate. You know what I'm saying? He's balling. Team is not looking that good, but it's not his fault. He's balling.
Yeah. My thing is, I feel like with AD, I mean, he's played well this season, right? But by his own admission, he's also, maybe not played as well. And I think a lot of that just has to do with the team trying to get their chemistry and everybody trying to figure out where they're going to fit in. So he hasn't played as well this year as what he was playing last year. I mean, he's not playing bad by any means, but I agree with you when you look at how those other guys are playing. Jokic, no complaints. I mean, dude is balling out. Like you said, MVP caliber play right now. But Kawhi's not really doing anything more special than what AD's doing. So that's another one that becomes kind of a toss up. But
Yeah.
my issue with that is maybe Kawhi being a starter over him. Although it's probably not gonna matter because he probably wasn't gonna be able to play anyways.
Yeah.
But the the thing is, I'm not terribly upset about AD not starting because if you actually look at it, he hasn't had a all-star starting season so far.
I can feel you on that.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of my one moment as a realistic Lakers fan, y'all. I hope y'all wrote it down. 9:10 p.m. on February 19th, 2021.
Trust me, it don't happen much. This dude is on.
Yeah.
This dude's on. I'll say this, man. Chuck said last night when I was watching the games and they was talking in between the games how Anthony Davis isn't playing at the all-star level this year. No. That's why he's not on the team. I mean, Chuck said, "He's on a mission." Shaq and Kenny, they, always, oh, no, Chuck. But I had to agree with Chuck that Davis is not playing at the same level he has played. I think a lot of it's due to injury as well, but he isn't. So when you see that, and you have a certain expectation for a guy, he doesn't meet the expectation, it's easy to be like, nah. Then also, he's been injured a lot, so people may have been saying, man, this dude ain't gonna even be able to play anyway, so I might as well just vote for somebody else.
Yeah.
So I think it's a combination of those two things. Now, when we look at the East, I'll put it to you like this. 4 of the 5 starters in the East, you can't say anything about. Bradley Beal has balled out of his mind for a horrible team.
Yep.
Kevin Durant is Kevin Durant. You know what I'm saying? If he come out and score 5 points a game, he's going to be the captain. That's Kevin Durant. Yep. But he is playing well when he's able to play. Giannis, same thing. Giannis is Giannis. Still got to work on that J, but he's a dominant player, and you know what he's going to do. You know he's not going to use the perimeter, and he's still out there having 30, 40-point games. Mm-hmm. Joel Embiid and the Doc Rivers, man, this Joker looks like a different guy, too. My boy Tobias Harris, he's looking good under him. He's looking good under him, too. So Doc's making a big difference on that team, and Joel Embiid deserves a start.
Yeah. But we already knew Doc coach, so.
Kyrie has the stats, but I don't feel like he's played enough to warrant being a starter over even his own teammate, James Harden. You know what I'm saying? Because if we're going and we're saying he's a starter, we're putting him over a dude in Harden who, Rocky, at the beginning with Houston, he was still getting his points and stats. But he's came in there and he's made a big difference on that team. And I got to say, while I'm on the subject of Harden, man, I've been completely wrong so far about James Harden and Kyrie and KD making this work. They've only had, about 6 games together, 8 games? Mm-hmm. But he's literally, when they're all there, he's playing point guard. He's fine with it.
Yeah.
And that's crazy.
Well, we'll see if it sticks. But the thing is, we said before, in order for that team to work, that either Kyrie or Harden had to be willing to be the facilitator. You can't. I mean, you can still get your points. You can still have your nights where you go off, but on a consistent basis, you got to defer. We saw, when Miami had that big 3. Wade decided he would be that guy, and he let LeBron have a shine. But one person in that group has to be willing to say, most nights I'm okay not being the guy. We'll see if that sticks up, but Sierra says Kyrie is never healthy either. Well, maybe that's why Harden's willing to play facilitator for a little while. He knows it's only a matter of time before he gets his chance.
And I gotta tell you, man, I watched that Nets Lakers game last night. If that James Harden would have showed up in Houston for any length of time, man, they might have done something. Because that dude, he did a great job of involving his teammates, getting people open, And this man had a big game, but he did it in the flow of the game so much, I didn't even realize watching the game how many points he actually did score until I saw the stat lines.
Well,
And that's
there's one problem with what you're saying here.
What's that?
That James Harden did show up in Houston. He just didn't show up in any of the playoff series for Houston.
Well, what I mean is the James Harden. This is the part that didn't show up in Houston. The part that's willing to facilitate first. You know what I'm saying? When you saw James Harden in Houston, he came in with that ball. He pounded, shot, pounded, drove to the hole, got fouled. You know, this James Harden that we're seeing now. And obviously, a lot of these games are without KD or Kyrie or both. But this James Harden that we're seeing right now, this is the guy that reminds me of the dude from Oklahoma City who was a beast. And if he comes back, the East is going to have a problem, and whoever makes it out of the West is going to have a problem. Not that they could win, because you never know. I'm pretty sure they're going to make a couple more moves for some dudes who might be fringe players who are not in the league right now, like they did with Andrew Robinson. Robinson, excuse me. But there'll be some, moves made. But I think that I'm liking what I'm seeing, and I'm the first one to give you props for you. When you prove me wrong, he has. Got to give him some props for that.
Yeah, and we'll see how things go long term. I think it's a little too early to tell still, and I'm going to give Harden credit for the way he's playing right now, but you haven't showed up in the playoffs yet, so I'm not going to give you credit for that yet.
He's not going to show up in the playoffs, but he doesn't have to. That's what Kevin Durant's for. That's what you got to realize. He's not being asked to show up in the playoffs.
So, yeah, I think this comment right here, pretty well shows what Brooklyn's Achilles heel is going to be. Here's the thing. The reason why I feel good as a Lakers fan, even though the team is struggling a little bit right now, got some health issues and everything, the reason I feel good long term is they're a team who has multiple guys who can give you 20 plus points a night. They also play really good defense.
Yep.
You can forget about this regular season stuff. The great teams don't really care about the regular season. A lot of times, once these teams, especially once they've won a ring or two, they just coast into the playoffs. The regular season is basically a tune-up for the playoffs. When the playoffs come, that's when these teams actually show up. And don't forget now, the Lakers right now actually do have, or I'm assuming after last night, it's still the same. They did have the number one rating in defense. So that's a great combination. And I think unless Brooklyn can go out and make some moves to add a little bit of depth and add some defense to what they have, they're going to have a hard time beating teams that play great defense in a 7-game series.
It looks like Sierra Cobb agrees with you, sir. I'm gonna let you have the next comment. I'll let you comment on that one, man. I'm not.
Let's go and put Rob up on the screen here. Huh? big shot Brian Brady here.
So I'm just gonna do a quick deciphering of this name. So you're putting Big Shot and Brian in the same sentence. That's an oxymoron. Those two things don't go together. You're adding on to Brady, and we know why.
Yep.
So, hey man, do you, bro? But I won't be calling you Big Shot Brian Brady. No. I'm going to be calling you Rob.
That's a name.
You've now knocked yourself down to just being Rob.
You're just Rob now.
You're just Rob. Because of that, you're just Rob.
You keep this foolishness up, you're going to be Ro.
And you keep on, you're going to be B.O.B. You're going to be the new Bill O'Brien.
For those of y'all who might not have been around very long or are fairly new to the show, Rob is a very, very big Brady fan. And last week, YouTube had some technical difficulties, so he wasn't very happy that he didn't get to comment while we were taking turns bashing Brady. So
But see, the thing is, it wasn't necessarily a bashing, but more of our take and our opinion on Brady. You know?
Well, it was. I'm saying how Rob might have saw it.
Oh, I'm
You might
sure
have saw
Rob
it as
thought it.
nasty.
Yeah, I'm sure he saw it that way.
It's all good, Rob. It's all good, man. O'Brien Brady over there.
It's just Rob. Now I'm done. It's just Rob. You can't even big shot Rob no more. It's just Rob.
I might just take the big shot off and just call him Braun Brady. That flows.
It does flow. But
he says he's not a Brady fan. Okay. I mean, you the one
saying call you big shot Braun Brady, and you're gonna say you're not a Brady fan?
Hold on, let me put this back up for everybody. Hold on. All right, I'm gonna stop messing with you, Rob. You
want to be called big shot Braun Brady, but you're not a Brady fan. Rob, what is going on with you, bro? What's going on with you?
Rob, we know you think Brady's the GOAT. you know that neither one of us agree with you. And
you know that you're a Brady fan. You wanted to be called big shot Braun Brady.
It's okay to admit you're a Brady fan, man.
It's okay, yeah. You can be a Brady fan, man.
I'd be a Brady fan too if I didn't hate him so much.
You can get you a Tampa 12 jersey. You know what I'm saying?
No, I told you already, man. He doesn't have the Tampa 12 jersey. He's got the customized Dallas Cowboys number 12 Brady jersey. You know, Rod's not turning his back on his Cowboys now. That's not happening. Yeah, at least you got to at least give him credit for his loyalty to his team now.
Now, what if Tom Brady went to the Cowboys? I'd have to go check on Rob. I had to go check on Rob and make sure he's all right. I had to go check on him.
Now you tell about something. Brady and Braun the GOAT.
Your nickname is GOAT. So let me just clarify for you, bro. Some people call them the GOAT, not just GOAT. So if you want me to call you GOAT, I'll call you GOAT. But when I say GOAT, I mean you're a goat, like the animal goat. If that's what you want, I'll call you GOAT. Or I'll call you Rob GOAT or GOAT Rob if that's what you want. You know, if you want to be a GOAT, a actual GOAT, that's cool. That's on you, man.
So Austin Jefferson says we want Watson. Well, man, you might want him. Probably not gonna happen.
A lot of people want Watson. Heck, I want Watson. I ain't gonna get him, but I want him. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, look, at the end of the day, there's going to be about, I won't say 31 because I'm pretty sure there's a couple of teams that are happy with their quarterback situation. But there's at least probably about 28, 29 teams that want Deshaun Watson is going to be very disappointed when the season starts next year because they're not going to have him.
Well, we know one team that definitely doesn't need Deshaun Watson. Don't we, Rob? Rob the GOAT.
So just kind of circling back to this conversation about the All-Star game, I'm curious what your thoughts are on this one. So I've been listening to Atlanta Sports Radio a little bit today. I don't know. I'm a glutton for punishment, I guess. And they are all up in arms because Trae Young is not even going to probably play in the All-Star game, barring somebody else dropping out. It's going to be here in Atlanta. And the reason why is because he was voted, I think it was number 6 by the fans and number 11 by the players. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, here's the thing. He's not going to start. He actually was 6th place. He was 6 by the fans, 11 by the players, 6 by the media. He's not better than, and let me tell the people in front of him, Bradley Beal and Kyrie Irving. He's not better than James Harden. He's not better than Zach LaVine has played this year. He's not better than Jaylen Brown. So, but the coaches are making the other picks. So whoever's going to coach the East, and if I remember correctly, it's going to be, whoever the best team is. So it looks like right now that's going to be Doc Rivers. He picks the backups. So I'm pretty sure Trae Young is going to make it in the game. Make a long story short, he'll make the team as a reserve because it's in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? So he's going to make the team.
Yeah.
He may not be better than some of those guys, but he still may make the team over one of those guys because it's in Atlanta. If you want him to start, you are the most unrealistic fan base in the NBA. He is not better than any of those guys that were voted over him. And even though, his team may not be playing as well, shoot, the argument could be made. He's not better than Russell Westbrook or Fred VanVleet. If we're being really honest here. But he's going to make it. It's in Atlanta. I find it hard to believe he doesn't make the team as a reserve. He shouldn't have been a starter. So I don't know what people in Atlanta are up in arms for. He's not a starter in the All-Star game. He's not.
Yeah, I don't necessarily know if they're upset that he's not a starter as much as it is that they at least wanted him to be on the team. I think, especially with the game being here, they are up in arms because he's probably not going to be in the game at all.
But the thing is, they've only announced the starters. They haven't announced the rest of the roster yet. So he can still make it. I mean, he'll make it because it's in Atlanta.
I mean, I'm just telling you what they seem to think, man.
Well, I mean, they are Atlanta fans. I've lived in Atlanta before, and they are one of the most unrealistic fan bases there is. But I think he'll make it. So everybody can calm down in Atlanta. Just calm down. You'll probably slide in the team as the last guard in.
Just simmer down.
Just chill. So just walk outside and stand for a minute or two. You cool off. It'll be all right.
I see VanVleet.
Yeah, VanVleet is playing well, man. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of guys that got, votes over him. Not going to knock him because those are good choices. But VanVleet's a dude that can ball.
Yeah.
Quick thing I wanted to talk about in regards to the All-Star game. They're altering the setup a little bit this year. They're going to have the 3-point contest and the skills challenge before the actual game, same day. So they're starting about 5. And then they're going to actually make halftime the dunk contest. So they're going to knock everything out in one day. Curious about that. Your thoughts. Safety protocols. How does it work with that many different people in one place?
Yeah, I get the idea, which is to say, if you spread it out, you have to have more people coming, going over multiple days. So you feel like you might be increasing the risk versus if just having everybody do like one day. The problem is by doing everybody in one day, it's going to be much harder to keep people socially distanced. This is not the NBA bubble where you have had people basically quarantined in for a long period of time. This is a situation where people are going to be coming in and you're going to basically be throwing a whole bunch of people in the building at once. We'll see how they do it. I mean, realistically speaking, what they're going to probably have to do is group people in and have them come like at different windows of time. They'll probably only allow a certain number of people in at once. So it will be interesting because maybe normally where you might have a lot of players might actually go and watch a certain, event. That's obviously not going to be the case. They're not going to be able to go and watch it. Even trying to fit the players themselves into the stands, you might be able to space people out and have it work that way. But it's going to take a lot of coordination. So we'll see what happens with it. But, I think that's the reason that they did. I think that was the thinking was it might be easier to coordinate this for one day versus trying to coordinate a bunch of different people on multiple days.
Well, my thoughts are simply this. Contact tracing is going to be a beast after this. Because you think about it this way. If you're someone that made the All-Star game and you're also competing in the skills challenge or the 3-point contest or both, you're going to be in contact with all those people. as well as all the people playing in the game. I don't think anybody, from what we've seen the last few years, is probably going to be in a dunk contest and playing in the game, especially with it being at halftime. But there's going to be a lot of people that can be around each other, mingling, different things. So I think for me, you're not going to be able to follow good safety protocols. If you're not going to have good safety protocols, then you're putting a lot of people at risk. I think, honestly, a little unnecessarily. You could honestly, if we're being real about it, you could do the 3-point contest and skills competition and then play them before the game. And you could do the dunk contest, and then play before. You could have those events still take place on the night they don't take place on, and then play them, during those slots. Because I get the live factor and all that, but you're having a lot of people come in contact with each other, players wise, not even counting the fans, players wise, and then they're going to all go back to their respective teams. So if you get one person there that tests positive, you pretty much got to quarantine everybody that was there. So every star player from half of the teams is going to be gone. So I think that's where you got to look at it and say, the game is the game, it is what it is. It can happen there, but you're making it a lot more likely to happen with all the other things. So you got to look at that and try to find a way around that suits it and still gives people the same experience or a similar experience, but be safe for the players. I don't think that's happening.
Yeah, I'll have to reach out to our contact, who's going to more than likely be working at the event, and see what he knows, see what inside sources might be able to tell me here.
Well, I know we're getting near the witching hour, we'll call it tonight, but got to answer Robbie.
This was what happened when you were watching WandaVision right before we come on air.
Really is. But got to answer Robbie the GOAT. So, coming out of the East, I got to say my expectation right now would be Brooklyn. I wouldn't be surprised if Philadelphia was able to come out of the East as well. I'm very down on Milwaukee right now, but they're without Drew Holiday. So you add Drew Holiday back, that's going to bump the team up a lot. They're having Giannis handle the ball and play like a point forward way too much. He doesn't have a J for that. And it's not that he can't do it, because he has the skill as far as he can bring the ball up and do, facilitate, but you're not threatened by him shooting a shot. So if he's bringing the ball to the court, you're either stopping him or you're running to the shooters trying to intercept the ball, because you're not closing out on him because he's not a good shooter at this point. So they need Holiday to bring his impact in, let Giannis go back to doing what Giannis is great at and what can help the team win. So if he comes back, because he's in the health and safety protocols, when he gets back, that's going to change that team. But we don't know how much Brooklyn and Philadelphia will be able to separate themselves by then. The only other team, in my opinion, that has a chance in the East is Boston, and that's if they get a big.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting, man. I think just off of name recognition alone, everyone's going to say Brooklyn. But we're going to have to just kind of see how things play out over the course of the season. One thing with Brooklyn is you have to remember KD has already had a couple of nagging injuries this year. Kyrie has a injury history. So are we really sure that team is going to actually make it healthy to the finals? That's going to be a big question mark.
Of course, man, because the regular season don't matter. Remember to just let Harden run the regular season, because that's when he shines. And then when the playoffs start, the rest of the other guys will come and do their thing.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Well, those guys will be healthy enough to do their thing. So,
Well, they can sit out all they want right now. Honestly, that's the best part about having Harden. Real talk. They can take it easy. You come in a few games, get your things up. Like Kyrie he played last night like he had a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. Like he wanted to kind of, try to show up LeBron a little bit. He had made a little snide remark that they caught on tape when LeBron missed the technical free throw. I think it was a technical. can't remember if it was technical or just
It was technical.
it was technical. Okay, so he missed the free throw. They're like, "Oh, that's the dude you got shooting." I'm like, Kyrie, you still on that, bro? A couple of years later, you still on that? But
I mean, I'm not up front though. I mean, every time I be seeing LeBron shoot, I be like, we ain't nobody else.
but when you say that, you know what I'm saying, and you're Kyrie, you know how it's taken. And Kyrie
Yeah.
is already what do they say about Kyrie all the time? I always laugh. It's always say he's a different kind of cat. You know what I'm saying? What does that even mean? I know what it means. It means this fool thinks the world's flat. So I'm not surprised by what he does. That's what it means.
Yeah, if LeBron is our best free throw shooter, we're definitely in trouble.
Well, you also had the point guard dude, the little German guy y'all got. He was out too. I think he's the backup. Yeah, Schroeder. I think he's the backup tech shooter because your number one guy, he was out. Was AD. AD's the guy that normally shoots the techs. He was out. And Schroeder normally shoots from what they were saying on the show last night. If he can't, but because neither one of them could shoot, because they both didn't play, then it was LeBron. He probably did have a better option, but he probably wasn't on the floor at the time.
Hold up. Ross said he's about to go do his Uber job, so I can't resist the urge to say he about to go get that goat cheese.
Is Robbie the goat?
Go get that goat cheese, Rob.
Oh boy. Hey Rob. You make it easy, bro.
Yeah.
Gotta take advantage.
It's all love though, man. It's all love.
Or is it? Nah, it's all love. It's all love.
He said left had like go bag.
Gotta get that goat cheddar.
Get that goat cheddar. Oh man. But yeah, man. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Think this was our first show on the new simulcast system here.
Yeah,
went pretty well. There is a link I will go post in our group. So if you're in the group and you're commenting right now, all your stuff is coming up saying Facebook user. There's a link you can go to, and it will just ask for permission to be able to show your name. And then that way, in the future, when you comment on the show, we'll actually be able to see your name. So I'll post that in the group for everybody. It's only the group that is doing it. Everywhere else, I'm able to see the names.
Now you have it.
So we'll take care of it.
Another week, another show.
But yeah, man, we definitely appreciate everybody tuning in, all the comments, all the interactions tonight. We love to interact with y'all. Matter of fact, we love interacting with y'all so much. We actually went 8 minutes over just to be able to accommodate and do it and poke fun at goat cheese.
King Goat. That dude said, "I'm not a Brady fan." Big shot, Brian Brady.
Hold up. Let me go pull that back up real quick. Hold on. Here. One more time for the road. Actually, that was the wrong comment. Here you go.
That was funny too, though. But he's not a Brady fan.
Not a Brady fan. Probably not a LeBron fan either. Oh, well, man, that's it for tonight, man. So until next Friday, this is a Cooler Box reminding you that even when the clock runs down,
heroes arise.
Stats will lie.
But sometimes, wow.
Nothing is for show.
There is no doubt.
Until the clock runs out.
It's him and I.
So play callers. Y'all better know that.
Yeah. Next week, we're going to want y'all back.
Bring a friend. 2. Bring 2. If you bring more people than Rob, you're the new GOAT. Give me your title away, Rob. See y'all next week, man.